Hi, I'm Dr. Guidry, and I'm your professor for the Principles of Real Estate this semester. You guys are my Thursday group, so we will only meet face-to-face on Thursdays. On Tuesdays, you'll have pre-recorded lectures and an online quiz to complete. All of our material you'll be able to find on Moodle. So let's take a quick look at our course syllabus. Okay. When we do meet, we will meet in 215 Powell. Here are my student hours, formerly known as office hours. If you looked at a previous version of my syllabus, the only thing that's changed within the last couple of days has been the timing of my student hours. I had to rearrange a few things. I am available Mondays through Thursdays. Mondays will probably be the best day to meet with me, whether you want to do so face-to-face, if you'd like to give me a call, email, or maybe Zoom. So what sort of materials will you need for this semester? Well, it's highly recommended that you get a copy of our textbook. Of all the years that I've spent teaching real estate principles, this is probably the best. It's currently in its 13th edition, but certainly if you can get your hands on a 12th or an 11th edition, that will be fine. If you're still awaiting delivery of your textbook, I've posted in PDF form the first 4 chapters that we will cover. You'll also need just a basic 4-function calculator. If it can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you're good. My pre-taped lectures will be available on my YouTube channel, and we'll talk more about that. You'll have to use Scantrons when you are in class for a face-to-face quiz, as well as for our exams. Our exams will be paper and pencil, and both my Tuesday and Thursday groups will take those exams simultaneously in different rooms. So let's take a look at the course content. So on 8/11, we're only going over the syllabus. Okay. On the 13th, Thursday the 13th of August, you, my Thursday group, will meet with me face-to-face. You'll also meet with me on August 20th, August 27th, etc. So every Thursday we'll see each other in the classroom. What happens on Tuesdays? Well, on Tuesdays, I'll make available to you a link with a pre-taped lecture. And then you'll take a quiz on that. And the quiz, when you're away from me on Tuesdays, you will take that quiz online via Moodle. And we'll take a look at all that and when we get back to Moodle. Okay, so let's talk about how I am going to assess your learning. Well, as I mentioned before, we'll take quizzes. Okay, so each Tuesday, since you are my Thursday group, you'll receive an asynchronous lecture, in other words, a pre-taped lecture, and you'll take your quizzes online through Moodle. Every Thursday, since you're in my Thursday group, you're going to attend class on campus and receive a face-to-face lecture, and you're going to take that chapter quiz in class. So we've got 21 quizzes we're going to take throughout the semester. You'll be able to drop your lowest quiz score. I'll keep your 20 highest. Now, there is an incentive to do exceptionally well on these quizzes. If you score 90% or above, in other words, for our first exam, we're covering chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. If on those 4 quizzes you score a total of 36 points or more, because each quiz will have 10 questions, true-false, 10 true-false questions, each worth 1 point each. So on those 4 quizzes, chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5, sum total, if you score 36 or above, you're exempt from exam number 1. The same holds true for exam number 2. We start this little competition over again, where on the next 4 chapters we study, and those 4 quizzes, if you score 36 correct answers or more, you're exempt from exam number 2. And the same is true for exam number 3 and exam number 4. So that is, the goal, that you would try to be exempt from these exams. And I have had several students who have been exempt from all of these exams by making high scores on the chapter quizzes. But let's say you do have to take one of the regular exams, or what I like to term the interim exams. We'll have 4 of those during the course of the semester, each worth 50 points. They'll be made up of multiple choice quizzes, multiple choice questions, as well as some of the true-false questions that come from your previous quizzes. Of course, we will have a final exam in this class. It will be comprehensive. You'll have to turn in current events. You'll have 5 of them during the course of the semester. I'm very particular. I have specific requirements. So before you get started on that first current event, I urge you to read through the entire set of instructions. On Moodle, I'll also have some additional information for you that should be helpful. So what are the high points that you need to know about the current events? Well, they're going to be due on the day we take an exam. You're going to upload to Moodle. Even though you might be exempt from an exam because you scored well on your quizzes, you are not exempt from turning in a current event. And these current events are just that. They're current events. They are things that are going on today in the world that relate to a topic that we've covered for a particular exam. So, for instance, one of the topics we cover for the first exam is something called eminent domain. That's the right of a governmental body to take private property for a public use. You're going to go out, and let's say if you're intrigued by the idea of eminent domain, you would try to find some current event that relates to eminent domain. Perhaps there's a current court case locally or maybe nationally that's related to that. That's a current event. But don't find an article online that explains what eminent domain is. I know what that is. It has to be a true current event, something that's happening in the news. For example, when we cover the chapter on mortgages, there are a ton of articles all over the place that describe how many lenders have hit the brakes on forcing their borrowers to pay to keep up with their payments during the pandemic. So they've hit the brakes on the payments. It doesn't mean that the debt is forgiven. It just means that it's postponed. So things like that truly represent a current event. So you're going to turn in your current events on the same day we take exams. So again, even though you're exempt, you still have to turn in a current event. So our first exam is scheduled for August 27th. So you would turn in your first current event by August 27th at 9 a.m. And that would occur on Moodle. You're going to have a particular header. You're going to use a certain font and margin. So again, I have certain requirements that I expect you to follow for the current events. And in Moodle, I have an example of a current event. I have a document that's entitled Suggestions for Writing a Great Current Event. I also have the rubric I'm going to use to grade your current event. So we'll have 5, each worth 20 points during the course of the semester. Real estate math, self-study. There's a packet of information regarding the use of math in the field of real estate. So you read it on your own, then you work about a dozen problems and you turn them in at the end of the semester. If you feel like working your problems now and turning it in, you can certainly do that as well. We have a total of 650 points in this class. Here's the grading scale. It's based on points. If you miss an exam, well, you can make it up by using the score on your comprehensive final exam. All other work has to be turned in time or you'll receive a 0. So the rest of this package, the rest of this syllabus, you can go ahead and read on your own. But let's go back to our Moodle page. All right, so here's the syllabus. Here's just a restatement of your due dates. Here's all the current information for the current event. So tips for writing a great current event. Here's the rubric, and there's an example of what I expect, what it should look like. Some information on Back to Campus for the College of Business. If you're still awaiting delivery of your textbook, here's the first 5 chapters that we're going to cover. Certainly, whether you are in class or out of class, you should read the textbook, read the chapter, and then you're going to experience a lecture, whether it's online or in class, and take a quiz. Here's how to create a Zoom account. Here's the real estate math self-study. So the packet's available today. It's got to be, here it is, and you're going to upload your answers here. You have the entire semester to complete this work. It's worth 50 points. Here's the PowerPoints that I'm going to use for every chapter. They have no narration. If you like to print them out or maybe bring them up on your laptop and add notes, or maybe you like to print them out and write, you're old school, that's fine too. So, okay. So let's look at week 1. Okay? So you'll be able to see this taped review of the syllabus. Tomorrow, Chapter 2's lecture will be available only for my Tuesday people. On Thursday of this week, August 13th, since you are my Thursday group, you're coming to class, and we're going to have a face-to-face lecture, and then we're going to take Chapter 2's quiz in class. My Tuesday people, they're going to do all this online. Listen to the lecture, as well as go ahead and take the quiz online. I'd like you to do this. Download this cell phone contract, sign it, and then return it through Moodle by next Monday. What happens next week? Well, let's go over this again. Since you are my Thursday people, I'll only see you on Thursday. But on Tuesday, you'll have access to Chapter 3's lecture and take Chapter 3's quiz online. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. It's a privilege to be your real estate